All right, today we are just going to quickly talk about how to convert equations or information into standard form. So a couple things about standard form is the form looks like ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c are all integers, so they are just numbers on a number line. A is always a positive value, and A and B are not zero. C can be zero, but A cannot be zero. Now, I did not put these in our notes because I just simply forgot. So if you are at home, I will have this so you could print it if you want, or you can just look at what the problems we look at are. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a couple different ways to do these problems. So the first thing is these problems are in slope-intercept form. Okay, and we practice converting problems that were in standard form into slope-intercept form. But now since we are semi-comfortable with standard form, we need to do the opposite and convert it back into into standard form. Okay, so again, I'm going to show you guys a couple different ways that you guys can do these. Some of these have fractions in the slope. Some of them have positives and negatives. And I'm just going to show you guys a couple different ways that you guys could do these problems. Okay. So the most basic way is standard form. The difference between standard form and slope-intercept form is you have your x and your y on one side of the equal sign, and then you have just an extra value as the total. So if I were to look at y equals 3x minus 4, the first thing I could do to start converting it into standard form would be to move this 3x. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is, since it's a positive, I'm going to move it over with subtraction. Okay, 3x minus 3x is a 0, which is what we wanted. So I'm going to rewrite what we have. We have negative 3x plus the y at the very beginning, and that equals negative 4. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure that all of these things check off. A, b, and c are all integers. Yes, yes, yes. A is positive. So right now A is negative. So what we can do to change this is just to manipulate the entire equation. And we could do that by multiplying every single thing by a negative 1. So if we do that, negative 1 times negative 3x would become positive 3x. Negative 1 times positive y would become negative y. Equal sign, negative 1 times negative 4 would become a positive 4. Okay, so all I did was just manipulate this equation. It's still equivalent because we did it on the same side, and now it is in standard form. Okay, now this next one right here, it is in slope-intercept form, but we do have a fraction as the slope. So we could do this a couple different ways. We can first either move the x, or we can get rid of the fraction first. It's totally up to you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and move it first. So I'm going to get rid of this 2/5 x because I know I need to put it over on the left-hand side. So it's a positive. I am going to take that away with a negative. So a 2/5 x minus another 2/5 x is a 0. And then I'm left with negative 2/5 x because I moved it, plus 1y equals this 2. Okay. Now we can get rid of this fraction. Okay. So basically what we need to do is we need to get rid of this denominator, because if it was a whole number, we would be fine. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this dividing by 5 by multiplying by 5. Okay, I also notice that this a value currently is a negative number. We need it to be a positive number, so I'm going to multiply it by a negative number. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute this to every single thing. Okay, so negative 5 times negative 2/5 would be a positive 2x. Again, you can use your calculator, that's totally fine. Okay, negative 5 times positive y would be negative 5y. And then negative 5 times positive 2 would equal negative 10. Okay, so now all of these are integers. The a value is positive, and we're not dealing with any zeros, so we don't have to worry about that at all. Okay, now with this next problem, y equals 2/3 x minus 1, I'm going to show you guys, okay, well, let's get rid of the denominator first. Maybe you say you want to get rid of the denominator first. So we have 2/3, we have a 3 in the denominator, so we're going to multiply everything by 3. Okay, so same process. 3 times y is 3y. 3 times 2/3 x would become 2x. And then 3 times -1 is -3. Okay, then we could either subtract this 2x over, okay? But I'm gonna show you guys a different way, okay? What I'm gonna do is I know that a value, this x, needs to stay positive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to move this constant, this 3 over, and it becomes 3y plus 3 equaling 2x. And then what I'll do is I'll move this 3y over with subtraction. 3 equals 2x minus 3y, or we could also write it, if you want it to look exactly like standard form, 2x minus 3y equals 3. Okay? So that's just a different way of doing it. If you like to do it the same way every single time, you could move this 2x over with subtraction, and then you would have negative 2x positive 3y equaling -3. And if you notice, that is very similar to this problem that we came up with originally. Basically, everything, all the signs are flipped, and we would just multiply by a -1 to everything. This would become a positive, this would become a negative, and this would become a positive. So there's multiple ways of doing these problems. So you just have to kind of pick which way you like. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and pause this video, and I want you guys to try these 3 real quick. And whenever you are done, hit unpause, and we will see if you got them right. Oh my gosh. Stop. Okay. All right. So this problem, I'm going to move over the minus 2x with adding 2x. And I have 2x plus 1y equaling 4. I don't really have to do anything else with it, so I am done. Okay, this problem is missing an x. Sorry about that. That needs to be -1/4 x plus 3. Okay, so I am going to, you could either move the x first. I'm going to go ahead and move it over with addition. So I would have a positive 1/4 x plus y equaling 3. Sorry, my dogs are a little crazy right now. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this denominator by multiplying. And I would be left with 1x plus 4y equaling 12. So you could have done it a couple different ways, but if you got at the very end this in standard form, you are good to go. Okay, and then for this last problem, I'm just going to move this y over with subtraction. Get 0 equals 4x minus y. Or if you like writing it completely in standard form, putting the x and the y first, that is it in standard form. Okay, now these problems are graphs, okay, and then we have ordered pairs. So we need to now convert it into standard form. Now, I'm not going to say this is any different than doing how you feel comfortable with. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to write it in slope-intercept form. And then we are going to convert it into standard form. Okay, so this problem, to write it in slope-intercept form, we need our y-intercept, which would be -3. And then we would also need our slope. So we need another good point, 1, 2, 3, 1. So -3 to 1 ratio. So -3x minus 3 would be our equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so now to put this into standard form, we would have to add 3x to both sides to keep it even. 3x plus 1y equals -3. Okay, this problem is going to be a little tricky because we cannot see what the y-intercept is. So if that is the case, what we will do instead is we will use the slope, and we will use point slope form to help us with our conversion. Okay, so we have these 2 points. So I'm going to find the slope. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the slope is 4/5. Okay, and I'm just going to use this ordered pair. Again, it doesn't matter which ordered pair you use, but I'm going to use 3, 1. So in point slope form, this would be 1 y minus 1 equals 4/5 x minus 3. Okay, so now I'm going to convert this into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to distribute x. Okay. 4/5 times -3 would be -12/5. And I'm just going to keep it like a fraction right now, because why not? Okay, and then I'm going to add the 1. I'm going to add the 1 to this. So then we're left with y equals 4/5 x minus, and then -12/5 plus 1 whole, again, you guys can be using your calculator, is -7/5. Okay? So in slope-intercept form, that is what the equation looks like. It is not the prettiest, but again, the goal is not to make it pretty. The goal is to put it into standard form. So again, what you could do is get rid of the denominators. So these have a common denominator of 5. So I'm going to multiply everything by 5. Okay? So then I'll be left with, I'm going to move over here, 5y equals to 4/5 times 5 would be 4x. And then 5 times -7/5 would be -7. Okay. Then you can do a double swap, or you can move the x, whichever you prefer. I'll move the x over just to show you guys there's more than one way to do it. Okay, so -4x with a positive 5y equals -7. And then again, x needs to be the a value needs to be a positive number, so I'm going to multiply by a -1. This would become positive 4x, -5y, equaling a positive 7. So it's not the most easy, but to me, this looks a lot prettier than this does. Okay, so just being comfortable just converting between all of them. Okay. This problem, okay, this is a horizontal line, so I need to think of HOI. Okay, horizontal line means it has a 0 slope, and so that equation is just y equals, and wherever it crosses the y-axis, which is 3. Okay, now this is just one of those special cases that does not have a standard form to it. Okay, technically it would be 0x plus 1y equaling 3. But again, we can simplify that to just y equaling 3, so we don't write that a bunch. Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and hit pause. This problem right here is very similar to this one. Okay, this problem is very similar to this one, and this one is similar to this one. So go ahead and hit pause, try the problem out, and then when you feel like you have your answers, go ahead and hit unpause, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so for this problem right here, first we need to find the slope. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. Okay, oh, it looks like it has a good y-intercept. So the slope is a 4:2 ratio, or 2:1, or just 2 ratio. Okay, I also actually know my b value, so my b value is 1. So we could just write this equation, y equals 2x plus 1. And then to write it in standard form, I'm going to just swap out 2x minus y plus 1. And then I'm going to move the 1 over with subtraction and get 2x minus y equaling -1. Okay. All right, for this problem, I can visualize and see that the y-intercept is 0. Okay, I can also see that the slope is a 1:3 ratio. So my equation can be 1:3x plus 0. Okay, then I'm going to get rid of the third in the denominator by multiplying by 3. So then I'm left with 3y equaling 1x plus 0. okay? Then to put it into standard form, I would have to move the y over x minus 3y equaling 0. All right, in this very last problem, it is a vertical line, so we should be thinking of VUX, vertical line, undefined slope. The equation is x equals, and wherever it crosses the x-axis, which is 3, so just x equals 3. Okay, the very last problem is very similar to this one with a graph where we couldn't see the y-intercept, so we had to calculate it. I don't see the y-intercept, but I can calculate the slope and use point slope to help me do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the slope. Okay, so I'm going to find the change in the y's over the change in the x's. So to go from 13 to negative 2 would be down 15. Okay. To go from negative 4 to positive 6 would be up 10. Okay. You could also use the slope formula. 13 minus negative 2, negative 4 minus 6. Okay. You would just get a flip-flop negative. Okay. But we would simplify it either way to a negative 3:2 ratio. Okay. So that is my slope. Next, we're going to write our slope in point slope form. So I'm going to use this one just because it has smaller values. I just like it more. So I am going to do y minus negative 2, so it becomes an addition problem. Negative 3 over 2x minus 6. Okay. So now I'm going to simplify it up by distributing the negative 3 over 2. Negative 3 over 2 times negative 6 would become positive 9. Now I'm going to move this plus 2 over. I get y equals negative 3/2 x plus 7. Now I am going to convert it into standard form. So I am going to get rid of the denominator on the x by multiplying by 2. I have to make sure I multiply everything by 2. So this would become 2y equaling negative 3x plus 14. And the last step would be have to move the x over, which would be easy since it's already negative. So we have 3x plus 2y equaling 14. All right, the last thing for this one is go ahead and pause this video and try these two. Put them in standard form whenever you feel like you have tried it. Hit unpause, and then we will see if you are right. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to find the slope. So this is up 4, and this is down 12. So the slope would be a negative 1 to 3 slope. Okay. So then you just have to pick an easy one, whichever you prefer. I like 0, so I'm going to use 0. Okay. Y minus y1 equals my slope, x minus, x1. Okay. Now I am going to distribute. Y minus 0 is nothing, so I'm just going to write y equals negative 1/3 x. Negative 1/3 times negative 10 would be a positive 10/3. Okay, so this is in slope-intercept form. Now I'm going to get rid of the denominator of 3 by multiplying by 3. We would get 3y equaling negative 1x plus 10. And then I'm going to move over the minus 1x. And I get 1x plus 3y equaling 10. Okay, for this last problem, the change in the y's is down 6. The change in the x's is up 3. So the slope is down 3 over 6, or negative 2. I'm going to use these ones because they're easier for me. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. I'm going to distribute. negative 2x plus 4. Going to move the minus 3. Now I don't have a denominator or anything, so I just need to move this bad boy over here and get 2x plus y equaling 7. All right, I hope you guys feel a little bit more comfortable with converting. We are going to practice this on Savas tomorrow, so I'll see you guys later.